Is there a link between MNPs and sudden death syndrome? Sudden adult death syndrome remains one of the most troubling and unexplained medical mysteries. A person may show no signs of illness, yet their life ends abruptly, leaving doctors and loved ones without an answer to the question, why? According to the World Health Organization, sudden arrhythmic death claims about 5 million lives worldwide every year. In Europe and the US, it accounts for up to 20% of adult deaths from cardiovascular disease. Traditionally, the main causes have been hidden heart conditions, coronary artery disease, arrhythmia, cardiomyopathy. But in recent years, researchers' attention has increasingly been drawn to a new risk factor: exposure to micro and nanoplastics. In order to understand how nanoplastics can trigger processes that can lead to sudden death, let's recall what they can do. As we know, the most destructive property of nanoplastic is the electrostatic charge on its surface, which allows these particles to interfere with the transmission of electrical impulses between cells and distort the signals that coordinate the function of organs and the body as a whole. And because this same electrostatic charge can also disrupt mitochondrial function in every cell, leading to energy deficiency, inflammation, and ultimately cell death, the greatest danger arises in the most energy-consuming organs, the brain and the heart, where such disruptions can trigger sudden death syndrome. Our brain controls breathing and heart function through precise electrical impulses. If nanoplastic blocks or distorts these signals, the heart can cease to beat or breathing can stop. And this breakdown is not sudden. It results from a gradual accumulation of disruptions. That is, the signals from the brain's cardiovascular center become increasingly distorted and unstable, step by step, impairing the transmission of electrical impulses within the heart muscle. While this initially appears as arrhythmias, the heart beating too fast, too slowly, or irregularly, these malfunctions worsens and eventually reach a critical threshold, at which point the rhythm collapses and the heart stops. To those nearby, it may seem instantaneous, but in reality, the failure has been long developing over time. A similar process affects breathing. Signals from the brain's respiratory center, under the influence of nanoplastics' electrostatic charge, become progressively more erratic. After the critical threshold is crossed and the brain's commands can no longer get through, breathing stops entirely. In other words, sudden death is the final outcome of a gradual dysregulation of the heart and breathing, a process that silently progresses until it crosses a point of no return. And while we go about our daily routines making plans for the future, nanoplastics continue to damage our bodies cell by cell, day after day.
It is terrifying to realize how severely nanoplastics affect the human body. Even more disturbing is the fact that we cannot control our exposure to them. Nanoplastics enter our bodies constantly through the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat. This has already become our everyday reality. Today, we know that nanoplastics can disrupt the control centers in our brains for breathing and heartbeat, causing arrhythmias, bronchospasm, and pulmonary edema, which can result in sudden death. Yet, what's more alarming is how little we still know. Research on nanoplastics has only just begun, and we're only starting to grasp the true scale of this threat. But make no mistake, everything you have heard so far isn't science fiction. These are actual biological mechanisms triggered by electrostatically charged nanoplastics. They attack every system of our body, contributing to chronic illnesses and even causing a sudden death. But their impact reaches beyond the current generation. These nanoplastics are already affecting our children and even our ability to bring new life into the world.
Micro and nanoplastics destroy reproductive health, Current scientific evidence strongly indicates that mitochondrial dysfunction may be a root cause of infertility in both men and women, as well as negatively affecting conception, pregnancy, and embryonic development. For men, fertility depends on producing a sufficient number of healthy sperm cells that not only survive, but also possess adequate motility and the necessary energy to reach and fertilize an egg. That energy comes from mitochondria, which provides the ATP required for sperm movement. When mitochondrial function, however, is damaged or becomes unstable, sperm motility decreases, and even shape and structure of sperm cells can be altered, directly reducing the ability to conceive. From 1973 to 2018, the global sperm count in men declined by more than 60%.
We have maybe here two important points if it comes to fertility, because it's not, it's the additives definitely, and we know that for quite some time that additives have endocrine disrupting or may have endocrine disrupting properties, and that can influence the fertility, but also they can be part of the particles themselves, because the particles, in many ways can have already added these endocrine disruptors, or they can also have them as the corona, so they can integrate them into the surface of the particles and then enter the body via the particles as a Trojan horse, basically. So you can have both ways.
In studies conducted by Chinese scientists, microplastic was found in every semen sample. Its impact on sperm cells is both rapid and destructive. Within just 30 minutes of exposure, mitochondrial function is disrupted and DNA damage begins. This reduces sperm viability and makes conception nearly impossible. Animal studies have shown that micro and nanoplastics can accumulate in the testes, cause testosterone deficiency, and impair spermatogenesis. Micro and nanoplastics disrupt erectile function. Insufficient testosterone production can lead to infertility, reduced libido, erectile dysfunction, and in adolescence, delayed sexual development. Producing testosterone requires large amounts of energy in the form of ATP. Even small amounts of electrostatically charged nanoplastic entering the mitochondria can disrupt their function and decrease ATP production. This, in turn, can lower testosterone levels by 60 to 70%. Such a drop impairs blood flow in the corpora cavernosa, the structures of the penis responsible for erection. As a result, this leads to erectile dysfunction and ultimately to impotence. In addition, electrostatically charged nanoplastic interferes with nerve impulse transmission, which means that even in a state of sexual arousal, an erection does not occur. This has been confirmed by research from Anhui Medical University in China. In animals with chronic microplastic intoxication, erectile function was impaired after just 1 month. Results of a national study in Japan showed that erectile function and sexual activity are declining among the younger generation. Every third man in Japan, which is about 14 million individuals, suffers from erectile dysfunction. Moreover, young Japanese men, particularly those aged 20 to 24, exhibited decreased sexual desire, weak erections, difficulty reaching orgasm, and low levels of sexual satisfaction. In fact, the prevalence of erectile dysfunction in the 20 to 24 age group was 26.6%, which is almost equal to the 27.8% observed in men aged 50 to 54. This alarming trend is not confined to Japan only. Global research confirms that symptoms of erectile dysfunction affect up to 75% of men worldwide, showing that this condition is widespread and can impact men of any age in any region. In 1995, more than 152 million men worldwide suffered from erectile dysfunction. According to scientists' estimates, within 30 years, this number will approximately double.
So think about it. If just one signal fails, the movement will not occur, a thought will not form, and an emotion will not arise. The same is true even for the most intimate aspect of human life. Everything depends on the precise coordination between neural and vascular connections. And it is this delicate connection that charged nanoplastics disrupt. Erectile dysfunction is no longer a rare condition. It has become a widespread reality, with symptoms now observed in 75% of men worldwide. Imagine jumping with a parachute that has 75% chance of not opening. Would you take that leap? That's how most of men feel today.
The situation with female fertility is no less alarming. A 2025 study revealed the presence of microplastic particles in the follicular fluid of ovaries in 14 out of 18 women, with an average of more than 2,000 particles per milliliter. These data indicate that micro and nanoplastic particles can cross the blood follicle barrier. After entering the ovaries, micro and nanoplastic particles affect the egg cell and disrupt key mechanisms essential to the health of the female reproductive system. One of the most critical of these mechanisms is mitochondrial function. Each egg cell contains between 100,000 and 600,000 mitochondria, and the energy they produce is vital at every stage, from egg cell formation and maturation to fertilization, and the subsequent growth and development of embryonic tissues. Mitochondrial dysfunction caused by exposure to nanoplastics can impair egg cell maturation, reduce the likelihood of successful fertilization, and even lead to developmental arrest of the embryo. Accumulation of nanoplastics in reproductive organs can be one of the main causes of infertility. According to the World Health Organization, today, about 17.5% of adults, that is, about 1 in 6 people in the world, face infertility. Given the global spread of plastic pollution, Professor of Environmental Medicine and Reproductive Health, Dr. Shanna Swan predicts that by 2045, the world's population may become completely infertile.